Okay, let's jump right into something pretty wild. Imagine taking one of the deepest lakes on Earth and, with no dams and no fuel, turning it into a gigantic self-charging power plant. I know it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But the physics behind it is surprisingly real. We're going to break down exactly how this incredible concept could actually work. So, this is the big question, the one that kicks this whole thing off. What if you could build an energy system that just works, all day, all night, reliably, using nothing more than the gentle, natural movement of a huge body of water? This isn't just about building another power station. We're talking about a whole new category of energy. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the big problem this whole idea is trying to solve. Then we'll get into the two core pieces of the technology, what they call the gravity backbone and the power pod bank. After that, we'll see how they work together. And finally, we'll zoom way out and look at the mind-blowing global potential. All right, first things first, let's talk about the biggest headache in the entire energy world, the one everyone is trying to solve: energy storage. You could say it's the Achilles heel of renewables. You know how it is. We are getting amazing at generating electricity from solar and wind. The problem is that power comes and goes. You get tons of it when the sun is blazing, but what happens at night? Or on a totally still day? The holy grail is a giant battery, something that can soak up all that excess energy and then release it nice and steady when you need it. Well, this system is designed to be that exact battery. So how does it all work? Well, it starts with a truly revolutionary concept. This is the heart and soul of the system, a passive engine that literally charges itself, running 24/7, powered by the lake itself. So the secret sauce isn't some rushing river or a massive ocean tide. It's a super subtle phenomenon called a seiche. That's pronounced seiche. Just picture the water in a gigantic bathtub, like Lake Baikal, just sloshing back and forth, really, really slowly. It's caused by things like wind and changes in air pressure. This creates these tiny but constant differences in water pressure. And believe it or not, that tiny difference is all the fuel this engine needs. Okay, so how in the world do you turn a gentle slosh into gigawatts of electricity? It's this brilliant four-step dance. First, you lay these huge underwater pipes between 2 points in the lake to capture that little pressure difference. Step 2, inside that pipe, a special turbine spins no matter which way the water's moving, creating a steady trickle of power. Third, and this is the absolute genius part, that power isn't sent to your house. Nope. It's used to pump water out of super deep sealed chambers. And finally, step 4, whenever you want power, you just open a valve. The crushing weight of all that lake water above instantly forces water back into the empty chambers, spinning another high-powered turbine and generating a massive, constant flow of electricity. And this quote just nails it. The lake's own gravity, that gentle sloshing, is what's constantly charging the system by emptying those chambers. The chambers are basically just a giant mechanical battery, storing potential energy. The whole system just runs on its own. You don't need any outside power to charge it up, ever. So the gravity backbone gives you this amazing, constant self-charging power. I mean, that alone is a total game changer. But what if you need a huge boost? What if you want to add an enormous amount of flexible storage for peak demand? Well, that's where layer 2 comes in. Think of the PowerPod Bank as the ultimate upgrade. It's a totally separate system made of thousands of these modular battery pods. If the gravity backbone is the marathon runner, providing that steady power all day long, these pods are the sprinters. They can charge up using cheap excess power from the grid, say from wind farms on a windy night, and then they can discharge that power almost instantly. This adds a staggering amount of storage and basically acts like the perfect shock absorber for the grid, handling any sudden spikes in demand. Okay, so we have the 24/7 engine, and we have the massive battery layer. Now, when you put them together, well, you get something that looks less like a power source and more like a perfectly balanced, intelligent energy ecosystem. And check this out, because this is where the magic really happens. Look at that non-stop power column. That's the raw horsepower of the system. The gravity backbone provides a constant 2.4 gigawatts. That's your baseline, it's always there. But now look at total storage. Think of that as the size of your fuel tank. The backbone by itself holds about 25 gigawatt hours, but when you start adding those power pods, that storage number just explodes. With 100,000 pods, you're at over 500 gigawatt hours. The backbone is the steady power, the pods are the near limitless depth.
So let's just let these numbers sink in for a second to really understand the scale we're talking about here. The constant, nonstop power output is 2.4 gigawatts.
The total energy storage capacity is an absolutely massive 525 gigawatt hours, which, to put it in terms we can all understand, is enough reliable 24/7 power for about 2 million American homes, all from a single lake with no fuel. Now, this is obviously incredible for one location, but the real potential, the part that could change everything, is replication. This design isn't some one-off trick for Lake Baikal. It's a blueprint that could be used all over the world. Let's just look at the numbers for a second. One Baikal-sized project, that's about 0.1% of the world's power needs. Okay, cool. But what if you replicate it in just 100 suitable lakes around the globe? Suddenly you're talking about maybe 10% of global electricity demand. Now, what if you take this tech to the oceans, where you have powerful tides and currents? 100 ocean sites could potentially supply a quarter of the entire world's power. So what we're really saying here is that this is not just about one impressive power plant. It's a repeatable blueprint that could fundamentally solve the energy storage problem. This is an entirely new class of energy. It's baseload, it's dispatchable, and it's completely renewable. And that kind of leaves us with this one last fascinating thought. For decades, we've looked up to the sun, we've looked to the wind, we've looked into the heart of the atom for our energy future. But maybe, just maybe, one of the most powerful, elegant, and reliable solutions has been waiting for us this whole time, hidden in the immense, quiet, crushing pressure of the deep.